It's kind of like a whole new motorcycle in that it's a hell of a lot taller now. Just a little up and down the driveway right now, but you know, to get the full perspective of these tires. Now, these used to have a lot more on them, right? But now I've actually got tread. That's kind of nice. These were probably almost close to hydroplanable if it ever would rain. And same on the front. Pretty good wear on these. And the new one's in the shade. I think that'll pick up okay. Hello and welcome to, well, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already. Done. That worked. That's all I need. Yeah, that'll work. Ain't pretty, but it'll work. Okay, I've never taken a front off before, so I'm going to take a moment to read the instructions. Never a bad idea. And we'll come back to this. I'm going to stop the camera, I'm going to refill my water bottle, and we'll get going. It's not even noon, we're doing good. I see some clouds coming in, which should be great. I can get this done before it rains. I'll feel really good about myself. Okay, it's about 11:45 in the morning on the 4th of July. It's about 100 degrees in the bus. I'm not sure what it is out here. It's, you know, always hotter in the bus. You're like just dying in there. It really takes the fun out of taking a break. But I've been watching these guys popping up from the east, and I got a line of clouds that's more or less 180 degrees right now coming towards us, so better get on with the show. So now we're down to the front wheel. And for anybody that, I'm probably going to split these into sections. So I got the bike sitting on a stand that I built, and I've added some counterbalance weight, namely one of the spare tires off the truck, to hold the back down to get the front up off the ground. All right. As I was coming out here, I took a little glance around in the shade to make sure I don't have any rattlesnakes nearby. Don't see any. I had one last night that I found about 15-20 feet away from here, so it's good to take a look. Now I've got my maintenance book out here, and part of this, it's like, okay, I've never had to change the front tire on this bike. I've changed numerous back tires, but I've never changed the front. I had a flat tire. I had a front tire go flat about 1.5 years ago. But I was able to get it back to my apartment when I lived in Austin, aired it up the next morning with a tire pump, and got it to the dealer, and then that's when we put these tires on. So I never had to change that tire. So I took the time, you know, while I was taking a break inside. There we go. Get ourselves situated. Took a couple minutes to read the chapter. Well, it's literally about a page, how to remove and replace that front wheel. This one we got to watch out for because this is the speedometer drive. No, this is the speedometer drive cable. This is the speedometer drive assembly, I guess, basically. So when we pull it off, it's indexed to match something, and then there's a rotating part inside that matches the wheel, and you got to make sure that's engaged correctly. If you just jam it on there, you break it, and then you don't have a speedometer. Not the end of the world for a lot of people, but I like to know how far I've gone so I know basically how much gas I should have left. We don't have a speedometer. I mean, we don't have a gas gauge on the KLR. So, also, I've seen a bunch of posts of guys trying to figure out how to put these back together, and so you want to look at things like, where is your cable running? This one runs inside of the fork and then follows up here, and there's some guides. Apparently, some people are putting them on the outside, which doesn't, I don't even know how you can do that, but just kind of take a second to look at where things are running. And yeah, again, these tires are just about hammered. Not much tread. We're getting some checking in the treads. So it was definitely time for new tires. Okay, so the basic procedure, we're going to take this off. In fact, I can probably do that now if I had enough grip. Look at that idea. Okay, so we can get this off and out of the way. One less thing to worry about. Get out of my shadow. Pull that up. Now this has got a fork in there. See that? See it in the viewfinder. Yeah, there's a split end in that. So that's got to engage into the drive. I'm going to pull that back and out of the way a little bit. That also looks really gross in there. Hopefully that's just grease. Okay, and on the other side, what's nice about this, we don't have to take the brake caliper off on this one. On the back brake, we take the caliper off, but the front one, we don't have to. So take out the cotter pin, take the nut off, support the wheel a little bit, slide the axle out, roll it forward, and then catch all the spacers, and pay really good attention to the speedometer drive on the other side. So I'll be probably working it from the other side. Also remember the nut is on this side, it's opposite of the back, all right? I'm going to look around and find a better cotter pin. That is way too small. I'll probably reuse my back cotter pin unless it breaks when I put it on, but that is definitely not the right one that's supposed to be in there. I was an aircraft mechanic in the Navy, and there was the story told that there was a squadron that failed their inspection because their maintenance manuals were too clean. The inspector said he wanted to see greasy fingerprints all over the maintenance manuals, which means that somebody had taken the time to actually take the book with them out to the aircraft and do the maintenance. So they also said that the maintenance manuals were written in blood. Typically, everything that was in there was because somebody died because somebody didn't put something together right. So motorcycles are kind of dangerous anyway. They're a lot more dangerous if they aren't well maintained. So try to get it together right. If you're not really sure what you're doing, you can get a long way with the manual. If you're really not comfortable, take it to the shop. You don't gotta impress nobody with your technical abilities. So while I was on break, I did take the time to look it over a little bit. It's pretty straightforward. I'll point it out a little bit as we go. Bike should be well supported. It's not too bad. Front wheel off the ground. We get the cotter pin out. And I think these are probably the same size as the back. So let's go with that assumption first. Cotter pins are one of those things everybody's got their way. I don't do it quite as careful as I used to when I was an aircraft mechanic. I used to cringe watching the guys working on the trucks. They had their, okay, it's not the same as the back one. Alright. .22 on the front, on the nut side. Don't knock the bike off the stand. Yep, that one's gonna turn. Alright. Okay, 20, what did they say? 17 on the bolt side. There it is, 22. This is marked for my truck. It's the same size as the lug nuts. Let it rest on the ground a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now, again, we don't have to worry about the brakes. That's one less thing to worry about. Before you bump it all the way out, okay, make sure you can get the axle out. Sometimes if you got to whack it a little bit, leave the nut on there and bump, use that to bump things with, so you don't screw up your threads. Okay, kind of support the wheel with your leg or whatever you got handy. Slide it out carefully, lay the axle down. I got one hand on the speedometer drive. I'm going to catch the spacer and roll the wheel forward. Must have been a little crooked there. That's what we look for. Forks twist. Huh. Alright, spacer, don't drop that. And I'm going to try to get the wheel out here where I can see it. Good, this is going well. Lift off the speedometer drive. Oops, parts. That's what the book said. Careful, because this thing's got all kinds of little parts inside. Try to hold it together. The way that the book said it was to do it upside down, which I didn't fully appreciate until just now. If you tilted the wheel the other way and hold this way, then your parts won't fall apart. I think we got it all together. Nothing on the forks. And that's part of the wheel. Okay. Dirty gloves, but otherwise looks good. Next thing we're going to do is swap out this tire. What I've been making a habit of is put my parts back together in a way that I don't lose everything. Be careful with this speedometer drive. You could probably even put it through the axle. I'm not going to go that far. I haven't had a real problem with wind today. That's something to think about. Figure out where to put this so that the wind doesn't mess me up too bad. I think we'll put it on the bench. That's a good idea. Alright, this might be a better example because this tire is still inflated and still on the bead. Also, this one has, this was OEM. The stems, at least one of them, valve stem covers, should have a valve removal tool. So first thing you want to do is get the air out and give it time to deflate itself. And do not let this go flying. If this was just simply patching the tube and you lost your valve stem core, that would suck. If you think you're going to launch it, just hold your hand over it and, control it. Don't let it go flying on you. And like before, I've got a bag full of valve stem cores and tools and caps. And put them all together for now. This is really nice. This is already breaking the bead. Make life a little easier on us. Hear it hissing every time I press. A little more air coming out. The idea of breaking the bead, what happens is the inner side of the rim and the basically what we call the bead of the tire seat, and they're made to be the same size so they make a nice bond. Now these are tube tires, so I don't have to worry about, where a tubeless would have to actually seal against that surface. A tube tire doesn't rely on that for the seal. It's got the tube to hold the air. On a tubeless tire, it actually would seal enough to, that would be part of your seal, is how the tube or the tire and the wheel kind of grip with each other. Okay, so that part's done. Okay, again, this tube has got a nut on the valve stem to hold it in place. The last one, if you missed it, I just changed the rear tire earlier today. And I had actually, well, in addition to the rest of the mayhem, I had torn the tube right out of the torn the valve stem right out of the tube, so that was obviously not patchable anymore. Okay, I think we'll put our gloves on. Now, a little bit of, I don't know, strategy. I'm going to kind of repeat myself just in case you didn't watch the other one. This is a Metzler Tourance tire, Tourance. Tourance is an exceptionally stiff sidewall. It's good for, well, it's made for touring bikes. It's good for hauling a good load, you know, you and another person. Just realized one of my valuable empty plastic bags was blowing away, so I grabbed it real quick. But it's a heavy load tire, good for long distance highways, that kind of stuff. Okay. As such, it's a very stiff tire and it's very hard to get it on and off the wheel. But once you got it on there, life is very good. Now I'm going to take my time, hopefully, and not destroy this tube that's on here. Because it's still a good tube, so it's good to save it for a spare. I am planning on putting new tubes on, but it's nice to have a spare. Now I don't have a spare for the back one because that one was destroyed. What I'm trying to do is figure out where exactly the tube is laying right now, so I don't reach all the way in and catch the tube with the iron. Okay, I can actually see the tube in there, which is good. Now the way that this is supposed to go, and I was talking about this earlier, if you can get the tire squished in enough, such, oh wow, thunder already? Storm is coming in fast. Okay, I'm going to stop here, pick up anything extra that I don't need out here, and then we'll come back to this. So I'm going to stop the camera. Alright, we take a little break from tires and watch the storm come in. I'm going to pick up all my extra tools. Okay, that's a wide angle lens, so it's kind of hard to get perspective on distances. Over here, that's where the observatory is. That's already getting rain. The clouds are almost overhead now. So it's coming into the valley pretty quick. I don't see the flashes yet, but you can definitely hear the thunder. So I got everything loose that I needed to picked up already. We'll just kind of frame it like, let's see if we can get this. There, now you can see the storm coming in behind us. Awesome. Okay. At this point, anything that's out here except for the camera, I can just, you know, leave or grab and get inside pretty quickly. What I found out here, it's really weird. I'll see a torrential downpour that's not very far from me, but it never actually gets to me. You know, so it'll scare you, and then, you know, I'm not necessarily scared of rain, but I do have a healthy respect for getting struck by lightning. And some of the lightning out here is pretty serious. Okay, like before, work your way around in pieces. Oh, this is already easier than the last one. Front tire is not nearly as thick or strong. Still trying to be careful about the tube. I'd like to save it for a spare. Almost in the shade now. Yeah, huh? Shit, this is, compared to the back one, oh my gosh, this is easy. And this one was a functioning tire. It wasn't ran until it fell apart kind of thing. Not much left of it, but it's definitely an easier tire. That's good to know. We get kind of a rain effect off the hills here, where the storm hits the hill and then dumps, right? Where's my stem? Right there. I want to work opposite of the stem if I can. Looking is to see if I can pull the tube out of the tire. There we go. There. If I know the tube isn't in the way, I don't have to worry about puncturing it. Oh wow. I just stabbed myself with a piece of a steel belt sticking out of this tire. Wonderful. Like I said, these ones are getting close to the end anyway. Okay, now that the tube is out of the way, tire, not worry about hitting the tube. Nothing compared to the other one. Now again, if I can, I'm going to try to work the bead on the opposite side down into the rim. That'll give me a little bit of slack. There we go, we're just spinning off. Just like that. That's a new world record right there. Okay. Save those for spares. If I had to, I can put that tire back on again. Science question. Electrolytes in your sports drinks. Would you have more potential for lightning strike if you're drinking a sports drink? Oh, we should test that. Alright, let's see. Take a quick moment to inspect this. Started the valve spin. Looks pretty good. I don't see anything bent. If you're wondering, they all sounded about the same. I didn't hear one go thunk. Thunk would be bad. Okay, this one's got an arrow on the rotor. I didn't even look on the rear one. I didn't think to look. So, arrow goes that way. Yep. If we match that arrow to the other arrow on the tire, we should be in good shape. Apparently RevZilla will take returns, but not after you ride it. So this would have to be one very clean tire for them to take it back. I'm going to save these labels just so I know what to order next time. My gut feeling on this, these tires are a heck of a lot cheaper. They may not last me as long, but they are easy to replace. So if I get a year out of them, for instance, that might be okay. How did I do this last time? Let's put the tire down, wheel on top of it. Gloves off for now. So that's the thing. I was all excited about the storm. It hasn't gotten much closer. So had I ran inside like a smart person would do, I was going to say a scared little girl, but there's no reason to get struck by lightning that I can think of. I'm not going to do it for street cred. Sweating eyes. Yeah, I mentioned it's about 100 degrees. And with the storm, it's probably going to kick up humidity a little bit. Also now my tires smell like, my fingers smell like rubber. Okay, I'm going to take the stem cap and the nut and the valve core out again. Put them in my bag. How are we doing on time? This one feels a lot faster. Now we're 18 minutes into it. So. Them in the bag. I am going to make sure to put this valve stem cap on that has the core remover. It's just nice to have one with you. I mean, it's about impossible to fix a flat tire if you can't pull the valve core out. So save that. Again, this one is clean with the black band, so I know which one to put back in. Probably doesn't make a lot of difference, but okay, we're going to set this one in, and I'm going to put the nut on it just so it doesn't pop it out. That was something I learned on the Alaska trip, is I didn't put the nut on, I think, one of the times. And I'm halfway around and I couldn't find the frickin' core. It had pulled back inside the stem, right? I'm like, oh. Now if you look at this, it doesn't even look like it's close to fitting. You know, this one actually is kind of close, but the back one, it was like, really? So what I'm going to do, get it down inside the tire. Man, I just went blind looking at this thing in the sun. Did I look? I don't see that they marked this one for balance. So I'm just going to put it on. Try not to screw this up. This tire is a little bit, what's the word? The rear one we put on was really flat, like it had no air in it at all. So I gave it a couple shots of air just to make sure it wasn't stuck together. I was kind of checking this one, and it feels like it's got a little bit of air in it, so that's why I didn't bother to shoot the air into it, in case anybody was keeping track of that. I just don't want to put it in completely flat. I feel like it's easier to pinch one if it's completely flat. You can feel it a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now that I got it sitting, the valve is basically straight. Storm, just off camera, a Roadrunner running in circles. I swear, Roadrunners are one of the funniest things out here. It's like, I don't know if it's the heat or what it is. Roadrunners and bunnies, jackrabbits. I can sit here and watch them for hours and just giggle. It's like they just are just not quite right. You look at them, wow, okay. Probably like some people we know. Alright. Get it down as far as we can before we use the tool. And again, take your time. I don't care about anything except getting this on without pinching it. Oh yeah. Almost there. Seems like a shame to waste my drinking water since it's cold. Lots of soap, make it slippery. And again, trying to manage how much slack I've got. Make it easy as we can. Flat tires in my world anyway. I don't want to give myself any more. The storm is kind of just stalled right now. Getting some wind. Okay, we're on the first side already. We're looking good here. Yeah, valve is sitting nice and straight. Oops, where's my tube? Let's fix that. Push the tube back up inside the wheel now. Take your time. We should be okay with that. Stem is there. It started on the stem. And push ourselves as much slack as we can. Let's see if I can make this thing work. I suspect there's a simple trick I'm not doing that might help. I swear this tire you can put on with a spoon. This is so much easier. this up into the wheel again. That slack again. Little bites now. Let's try again. That'll do it. Time. Well, let's press forward, see how we do. There's kind of a line here that I'm looking at to see how centered it is. Stem looks pretty good. Just gotta tighten that down. Okay, I'm just getting ready to put the valve stem in. Storm is holding. It's getting a little bit closer, but not too much. Also, this battery may go dead on me, so I'm gonna put the valve stem in. And I'm going to use the truck. I've got the little air compressor there. My 12 volt air compressor is doing better than my 110 volt air compressor is, which is pretty sad. That might be a new feature, now that I think about it. I might take that thing apart and do some experiments on it. Okay, it's about 1 p.m. The rain never got to me yet. It's less rain there. It seems like it's kind of weakening. It's definitely going that way. It might just go right around me. Okay, so kind of an interesting side story here. No problem getting that tire put on the wheel. I've not been able to get the tire completely even on the rim. There's kind of a line, like a reference line, that you're looking at to line it up with the rim, and it'll go like 80% follow the line and then it'll dip down. And it's not in the same spot even, so I can't get it to sit completely where it's supposed to. So I'm going to put it on there and spin it and see if it looks lumpy or not, and then I'll kind of play with it some more once it's on there. I just want to get it mounted and maybe do a quick test drive, just because. So, let's see. Speedometer drive. Nut washer spacer on this side. Keep this thing facing this way. Okay, yeah, there's an indexer on the forks to get that lined up with, so this on the hub first till it lines up. Good. Got a bunch of stuff you got to hit at the same time, looks like. Spacer. Get the forks to go in the right way. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it's just a matter of taking your time putting it together. You gotta make sure you don't screw up your speedometer drive. Okay, I'm gonna hook up the cable. Remember, it's got a forked end that has to engage with something on the inside. So slide it in and then move the wheel a little bit. There it goes, just like that, nothing to it. Alright, I'm going to just slightly tighten up that cable so it doesn't come loose on me. Just like that, nothing to it. Okay. Now they talk about torque on these, but you still got to have yourself set up so that your cotter pin lines up. So find a mark. Oh, I forgot to set that. Okay, my hole's straight up, that's good. There's a hole. I'm just going to go there. Because if you crank it down nice and tight, you can't get your cotter pin. Okay, I want a bigger cotter pin than what was there. Yeah, that's a much better size. Down, good. Not as good as airplanes, but good enough. It's kind of like a whole new motorcycle in that it's a hell of a lot taller now. Just a little up and down the driveway right now, but you know, to get the full perspective of these tires. Now, these used to have a lot more on them, right? But now I've actually got tread. That's kind of nice. These were probably almost close to hydroplanable if it ever would rain. And same on the front. Pretty good wear on these. And the new one's in the shade. I think that'll pick up okay. Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.